Hi, I'm Malcolm McKellar, your Manitoba Party candidate for Spruce Woods. Today, with 1 week left in the election, I thought I'd just talk to you, give you a few thoughts on what I thought or what I think has happened over the past few weeks. And first off, I just want to explain. The Manitoba Party was created by regular Manitobans with one goal. We want to make this province a have province within the Federation of Canada. And this goal can be achieved if we all work together. We are not beholden to any special interest group. So we are not pro-union and we are not pro-business. We just want to work for all the citizens of Manitoba to make this province a better place to live. Now, none of us are career politicians. In fact, a lot of us didn't even want to get involved in politics. But due to the lack of leadership and lack of inspiration, something had to be done. And this is how our party got formed. Now, I just want to give you a few thoughts on the three main party leaders and what's happened over the past few weeks. First off, Mr. Selinger. Well, what can I say? All of a sudden, Mr. Selinger is worried about infrastructure. Last week, when he was here in Brandon, there was a news conference by a few of his ministers in Winnipeg, and they wanted to spend, I don't know, $50 million, $60 million to fill the potholes in Winnipeg. This is on top of the actual funding that they've already stated they were going to do. Well, I say to Mr. Selinger, what about the crumbling secondary highway system we have in this province? Lord help you if you have to go down one of these highways in an ambulance. So, you know, the NDP, Mr. Selinger can say he wants to build overpasses across the perimeter in Winnipeg and this and that. Well, in my opinion, that should have been done years ago. They've had 16 years to do this. Now, I guess we'll go on to Mr. Pallister, the front runner in this election. Well, what can I say? He was here in Brandon for a debate last week. He skipped out of the second debate, the Westman Communications and Brandon Sun debate, because he said he supposedly had an announcement to make in Winnipeg at 4:30. Well, that announcement got cancelled. The truth is, his handlers do not want him in any debates. They're afraid of what he might say. Now, the Tories, I used to be a card-carrying Tory member, but I just don't trust them anymore. They're the ones who brought in the RHAs and created another bureaucratic mess that needs to be fixed. What have the Tories done in the past 20, 30, 40 years? The last rural premier we had out of the Tory party was Walter Weir. The rest of them have all come from Winnipeg, mostly based in the southwest part of Winnipeg. They always run. The last three have been acclimated. The Tory base is in southern rural Manitoba, and not one rural Manitoba progressive conservative MLA will run for the leadership. You can't have the party leaders determined by the business elite in Winnipeg. And that's what's been happening. Now, going on to our new Liberal leader, well, last week or the week before, she said she wanted to spend $20 million on setting up a grocery store in Winnipeg? Like, give me a break. It's complete lunacy. She needs to figure out what she is, whether it be a socialist or a communist. But I know one thing, we do not need any more government in this province. So, I've been traveling around this constituency. I've been around it 2 or 3 times right now, and I've stopped in at every town, and I've met a lot of smart and very honest people. Last week I was in Balder, spoke to a lady on the street, and she was telling me a story about a meeting that they had with the RHA concerning the ambulance service, or lack thereof, on Highway 23. Now, she told me that the RHA person advised them to call an ambulance 30 minutes ahead of time if they thought there was a problem. And that maybe they should advise the seniors there to stop climbing ladders. If that's what the actual advice was from a public servant coming out of the RHA, they should be reprimanded. Statements like that do not resolve the problems. Now, the only way to fix this mess is that we should be demanding from our government that the RHA boards become elected. That way, there's accountability. The administration of the RHAs have to be accountable to the boards, and the boards are accountable to the people within the health regions. This is the only way to fix this mess. When you have boards appointed by the health minister, and they are basically political patronage positions. That's all they are. It's almost like being appointed to the Senate. They're yes men for the government. We need to fix this. Now, I want to make a promise. If I'm elected, I will be around. I promise that. You will not have to see my face on any billboards posted in arenas. And if you have, if you have complaints or don't think I'm doing a good job, you can let me know. We elect our politicians to represent the constituents. And the politician has to be visible within his constituency. And I will work with anyone to make this area a better place. Now, my last thing I want to talk about is voter participation. The last election, there was only 48.64% of the eligible voters that actually voted. 51.36 didn't vote. Like, the majority of the people didn't vote. I don't care whether you vote for me, vote for my opponents. If you all think we're bums, or if you think we're all bums, you can go to the polling station, write decline on your ballot, and those ballots are actually counted. A 100 years ago, the First World War was going on. There was a lot of good men lost in that war. And the Second World War. and the Korean War, and we can go into the Vietnamese War, and the recent conflicts we've had with terrorists. We can't take democracy for granted. People have to vote. And in honor of the people who fought in the First World War, and I have a direct descendant, Sergeant William McKellar, who was originally from Margaret. He was killed in the First World War. We need to think of the sacrifices these men and women gave us. Some say the Battle of Vimy Ridge was the first battle Canadians fought that actually defined our country. So I'm asking you, if you're watching this video, tell your friends, maybe get them to watch it. Tell your kids if they're eligible to vote. Tell your grandkids if they're eligible to vote. As I said, we can't take democracy for granted. People need to vote. I am McKellar. I am your Manitoba Party candidate for Spruce Woods.